Can you believe they dared me to put this in my mouth? Yes, this flour is definitely indicative of summer, and today's a very simple summer menu that we're doing today. Now, when you think of summer and you're making food that you might be serving outdoors, or you're making something that really takes advantage of what's available in the summer, that's what we're doing today on Let's Cook. We're making a very simple, and I did this a couple of years, maybe 3 or 4 years ago I did this, but I came up with a Philly cheesesteak salad. So today we're doing a Philly cheesesteak salad, and then to top that off, we're doing a lot of berry summer trifle. And to make that, we're using berries, but we also have to make a pound cake as well to actually make the trifle. And I'm going to show you basically how to make a very simple pound cake as well. So it's a very simple summer today, and Let's Cook. We're going to take a little break, and then when we come back, I'm going to show you exactly how to make this wonderful, easy, summer-friendly Philly cheesesteak salad. Don't go anywhere. It's Simple Summer today on Let's Cook. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Simple Summer today on Let's Cook. You know, if you're going to make a dressing and you spin the bowl a little bit, it kind of is ready to take the dressing and make the dressing. So I'm just getting my bowl in sync with me today. So I don't know if that makes any sense, but it just kind of feels good to spin the bowl. So that's why I'm doing this. But we're going to take this bowl right here, and we're going to make our dressing to go with this Philly cheesesteak salad. I have a little bit of cayenne that I'm using. Some garlic powder, about equal quantities. Salt, black pepper, chili oil, red wine vinegar, and then I'm going to add just a little bit of olive oil to this too. And this is going to be the dressing for my Philly cheesesteak salad. Now, when you think about Philly cheesesteak, right, you think about beef that's seared and thinly sliced with onions and melted cheese. Well, we're using those ingredients, but we're going to make it into a salad. So let's put our dressing over here on the side. Let's get the ingredients ready to go in our salad. First thing I'm going to use is I'm going to use iceberg lettuce, romaine, Boston Bib, any lettuce that you like to use, you can use in this. I just, because you need to eat this right away. This, when you make this salad, and you're going to put the dressing on, the iceberg lettuce needs to be eaten right away because it's not that sturdy a lettuce, so to speak, for this particular salad dressing. So I have some lettuce right there. I'm going to take a nice white onion. I'm going to cut the onion in a very thin julienne strip here, as thin as I can possibly slice it, so that you won't get too much onion when you eat this, but we want to cut this nice and thin. So I have my onion there, and you'll notice, look at the quantity here of lettuce that I have to onion. Quite a bit of onion in there. Need a lot of onion in this. For a little bit of color here, we're going to also, in a little different onion flavor, and since these are so popular and so available and around in the summer, we're going to use a little bit of onion here, so a little bit of scallion there as well. Just simply take this, put it in our salad bowl, toss this around. Just toss it around real nice here so that's well mixed. I'm not going to dress this yet now, though, because I have to get my beef ready. So let's just put this on the side here right now. Now I have my beef right here. What I'm going to use is I have a beautiful flank steak here. Now with the flank steak, what you can do with the flank steak is you can take this steak and you can grill it whole like this and then slice it very thinly, or you can actually cut this down now and pan sear this off, which is exactly what I'm going to do. And then you need to allow it to cool before you put it in the salad. So I'll just roll the flank steak up this way. And then with my knife, I'm simply going to start to shred the beef. I'm cutting it as thin as I possibly can. If I don't cut it this thin, the beef is going to be very tough. So that's enough for one salad. But you can see how thinly I shredded this. Then I'll take this beef that I have right here. I'll put it into a bowl. Let's just move that pan right there. I'll put this into a bowl. This, I'm now going to season. A little bit of olive oil in there. I'm going to use a little bit of my salad dressing ingredients. A little bit of cayenne, a little bit of garlic, a little bit of salt. And you'll notice I rarely use dried garlic, but I'm actually using a dry garlic powder in this because it works well take this. We'll toss this together. Now my pan is nice and hot because I started to heat the pan before. Just take a little bit more oil in the bottom of the pan here. We need to make sure that the oil starts to run. This is really nice and hot. Then we just drop our meat in here. Let's make sure it's hot enough, first of all. Not hot enough yet. Got to let that get a little hotter. Okay. Let's let that get a little hotter. And while that's getting nice and hot, I'll go ahead and dress my salad. Just take a little bit of your dressing here, not too much. I'm going to take this and just dress this a little bit. You don't want too much of the dressing, just enough to guess we need all of the dressing. I didn't know I made that little. Just toss this around this way. So now my salad is well dressed. Perfect. Pan is now hot enough. Now all I'm going to do is take the beef now, drop this in a pan. When you put this in a pan, if you're doing it this way, make sure you spread the beef out and you just let it sear. You're going to just brown this very quickly. It can still even be a little rare on the inside. Then you remove it from the pan, and this is what it ends up looking like. You see the difference here? And you allow I'll put that in the picture. See how you allow that to cool down? So now I had some cool beef. That's why this is such a good salad to make in the summertime, especially if you have leftover beef. Now, to present this, I'm going to use this plate right over here. To present this, we'll take our salad. The salad goes right in the middle of the plate here. Nice, easy, simple summer salad. And by the way, if you're setting this up and you wanted to keep the meat separate from this, you can do that too. Take this, a little grated cheese on top of this because it's a Philly cheesesteak salad. Delicious. Then we'll take a little bit of our meat here, right in the middle there. Again, this is a real hearty salad, but it's delicious. It goes together real well. Now, we need to make a nice little garnish for this. So to make the garnish for this, I have a piece of pepper right here. What I'm going to do with this piece of pepper is I'm going to cut it in half so it's about this size right here. You see how the size of it? Then with my knife, I'm going to flatten this down, and I'm going to start to remove some of the ribbing, turning it over this way, then turning it over this way. And I'm just going to cut this in very, very thin pieces like this, almost as if you're making a flower, because then what we do is we take these little pieces like this, we twirl them around this way, and we put these very thin pieces together, and we're able to make a nice little flower. So let me just get a few more off of here. So while I get this flour together here and I'm cutting these down, let's take a little break, because when we come back, I have to show you how to make a real pound cake for our very, very summer trifle today on Let's Cook. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Simple Summer today on Let's Cook. Before we went to break, I told you I was going to show you how to make a very easy pound cake. And that's what we're making. And essentially a pound cake is a pound of flour, a pound of sugar, a pound of butter, and a pound of eggs. That's basically what it is. Now, the recipe that I'm going to show you, or if you go to my website to see it, you'll see it's for a pound, a pound, a pound, and a pound, which actually means you're making a 4-pound pound cake. Or you're making or you can make it and make 4 single-pound pound cakes. What I'm making right here today on the show is actually I'm using a half a pound of each. So I'm actually making a 2-pound pound cake. But it's so simple. But there are some tricks to making this. The first thing that I'm doing is I'm using sweet butter. And what I did is I took the sweet butter, it has no salt in it, and I put it in a mixer with the sugar, and I've just creamed this, which means that I'll just show you what this looks like. It's very light in color. And the sugar, you can see how nice and soft this is. The sugar is just totally incorporated into the butter, and it's well creamed. So that's the first step, where you have to cream this. And this will take, based on how cold your kitchen is, how cold the butter is, it's going to take a while to cream it. But this is also going to give you a nice, light, well-mixed pound cake. So once we have our butter properly creamed, on a medium speed, we'll take our pound of eggs now, or half a pound, and we drop in 1 egg at a time. Let me just put this up one speed higher. And the eggs, you can't put them in all at once. The eggs are your leavening agent in this. So you just add the eggs, and you cream this, and you make sure before you add that next egg that one's in. When you're about halfway through the eggs, when you're just about halfway through the eggs, take your mixer and make sure that any butter that was maybe sitting to the side of the mixer here is well incorporated in. It's very important. That scraping down action is very important. This goes back in. In goes my last 2 eggs. That's good. Now I'm just going to let them mix together. While they're mixing together, I'll get my pan ready. To get the pan ready, I use this is a non-stick pan, but I'll still use a little bit of spray oil on the pan. Then, easiest way, right here, put your flour in there. And you're not going to waste this flour, because all we do now is we take the pan and we turn it around this way, turn it around this way, turn it around this way, making sure, see how well the inside of my pan is coated here? And all the excess flour is gone. The flour that landed in its bowl just goes right back into my flour bin because I can reuse it. So now my pan is ready to go, shaking off that excess flour, because otherwise I'm going to have raw flour on the outside of the pound cake when it's done. Now, next thing that we have to do is we have to make sure that we take, shut this off now, we take our flour here and you sift it. Now, if you're saying, well, Paul, how do I know what a pound of flour is? Well, if you don't have a scale at home, that was just a little salt. If you don't have a scale at home, what you can do is you can just simply realize that if you sift flour, a cup of flour is going to roughly weigh about 4 ounces. If you don't sift the flour and you just take it right out of your, wherever you keep your flour, it's probably going to weigh 5.5 to 6 ounces. A little, give or take a little bit. Might be 5, might be 6, but 5.5 is a good way to measure it. So basically, you're going to use about 3 cups of unsifted flour for a pound of flour. Put our machine on nice and slow. We have this on a parchment paper here. Then all we do is, so we don't overmix it, we add a little bit of the flour to this at a time. Easiest way, whoops. And see, also you see this way, it's much safer where you, and the paper fits down into the bowl there so that you can add the flour just until it mixes together. Beautiful. Now this is also going to rise to about, whoops, a little bit more flour in there. This is going to rise to all of the flour. There we go, perfect. This is going to rise up about twice its height in the pan when I bake it. I just mix it now till it just comes together. Don't overmix this because otherwise it'll be very tough. Take this, get this out of the way here. Comes over here. Once or twice. This is all you have to do. Then we'll just take this. This goes into our prepared pan. Now remember, this is very, very rich. So if you're on a diet that, let's say, you want to reduce your cholesterol or you want to reduce the amount of fat that you're taking in your diet, this is not necessarily the cake for you. But remember, we're serving this with very healthy berries today because we're going to use this for a truffle. Take this, spread it into the pan, and you can see how tight this is. Get rid of any air pockets that you have right here. Prop this in the oven, 350 degrees for about 45 minutes. I'm going to pop this in the oven. We're going to take a little break, and then when we come back, I'm going to show you how we take this wonderful pound cake we've already made here with some beautiful berries and make a delicious summer trifle. Very, very, very summer trifle. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Hi, welcome back to Simple Summer. Now we're making a trifle. We're making it with 3 different kinds of berries. I have some strawberries that are thin sliced here. I'm going to take these thin sliced strawberries and mix them with some sugar. Now, I'm going to do the same thing with my blueberries right here and my blackberries. And these I'll just mix together. A little bit of sugar in there, and also a little bit, because sometimes the berries, especially the way a lot of berries are being grown now, they're not as sweet as organic berries. So I'm just going to mix these together too. Now, look at this. We're going to take this nice little heart-shaped springform pan that I have. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'll just take some of my strawberries right here, sliced strawberries, enough, and just spread these right into the pan here so that I have enough to totally cover the bottom. Now the bottom's totally covered. Then we take our sliced pound cake right here. By the way, you can even use bread for this if you'd like. Nice thin sliced pound cake right here. Oh, this is so good. Now, realize that the berries that are that I just put in the bottom here are actually going to be the top of my trifle. So, going right here, get a little bit of that going on. See how we have a nice layer there? Now we go with here, another layer of a different berry, using our blackberries and our blueberries. And when I put these in, I really don't want to see any of the cake, or even a little bit. Now, the other thing is you have to make this a couple of days ahead because it's best if you weight it down and it gets together. Now we'll take a little bit more thin sliced pound cake here, and look how thin I slice a pound cake here. See how thin that is? Nice and thin. We don't want it to be too bready, so we'll take our nice thin sliced pound cake here, put this in. This is also great if your kids want to get involved, or if you have leftover stale pound cake. This works real well with this too. Good, have that layer going on. Now, have a few more berries left here. I'll just mix these all together because I also have more pound cake left here. This is also, by the way, very, very rich. I put this here. Beautiful. More berries. We spread this around. So now we have 2 layers of cake, 3 layers of berries. Take our pound cake again, right here, making sure it's nicely spread. Now to make this, if you're going to use a pan like this, you actually need another springform pan, or you need to cut a piece of cardboard or something that can, in this exact shape, so it sits right on top of this, because once you have the pound cake in there, you take your plastic wrap that you put in here, and because this just makes it much easier to get out, you fold it this way, making sure it's well sealed because you don't want any of the juices coming out of this. Then you take a weight with, and I used about 6 cans on top of this to press this down. As a matter of fact, this one right here was the same size of it, so you can see how much this actually shrank. But see how I pressed it down, and I actually used the bottom of this pan here to weight this down, to press this down. Let me show you what this looks like when we go to open this up. Oh, so good. So, first thing we'll do is we'll just take our plastic wrap right here, and the natural sugar and juice and pectin, don't worry. See, we don't worry about what the bottom looks like here, right? See, because you can tell, I just really threw this together here too. See, that doesn't look attractive. That's okay, because, let me just move this out of the way here. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to take this like this. This will come here. This goes right here. We just flip this over this way. And we have a beautiful berry trifle there. Doesn't this look great? Let's just slide that over. Oh. I'm going to cut into this so you can see the different layers in this too. Just a little bit of the juice is going to come out there. This is also great if you have berries that are getting a little ripe in the refrigerator. Oh. It reminds me of the first time I ever had really good strawberry ice cream, or really good, sweet, wonderful summer berries. Look how nice and firm this cuts. I'll just cut a little sliver out right from the bottom of the heart. So you get this beautiful layered effect. See how beautiful that looks? Set that up on the plate there, just like that. And then, of course, to finish this, doesn't need any more sugar, but we take just a little bit of little whipped cream there, and then we'll take a little berry here just to garnish this. And of course, a little sprig of mint as well. Out of this world. And again, don't worry about breaking anybody's heart making this trifle, because it's well worth the effort, and I'm sure that you'll win their heart over when you do make it. Thank you so much for watching Simple Summer today on Let's Cook. You have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.